So on this week's episode of Be More Super, the podcast, we've got a great guest. She could be seen in Titans as Lady Vic, V-Wars and Shadowhunters, but she's here with me today to talk about her latest project, which is Trader. It's Kimberly-Sue Murray. Kimberly-Sue, welcome to the show, my love.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be chatting with you.
And I'm really excited because the thing is, this film, I've got to say, it doesn't normally fit in my wheelhouse of films that I would normally watch. So I got sent the link to actually watch it. And I tell you what, I loved it. Literally.
You did?
It's mesmerizing from the beginning to the end. Because I used to love arty movies. I used to love movies that were thought-provoking, and I think that because we're drowned in content now, with all these big studios making all these amazing CGI movies, I think that it's sort of watered out, a lot of the talent out there. So a film like this that literally ticks all the boxes, and it's just fantastic. It really, really is. But before we talk about your movie, I just wanted to ask a few questions about you as an actor, because it's one of the most competitive industries to get into, and
is
to actually, apparently so. Apparently so. Apparently, it's not as easy as people think. You roll up in LA and Hollywood, and the streets are paved with gold, and they offer you big roles. Wouldn't it be nice? It would be lovely. But no, it's very competitive. So when starting out, when you decided to take this avenue in your career, did you have a plan in place, or do you have a plan in place of what you want to achieve as a performer?
Well, I was 9 years old when I decided I was going to be a Hollywood actress. I did not have a plan. I had no idea. But I feel like along the way, I've had plans. I've had to, define and redefine the dream and the goals and all of that. Because, when you're young and you don't know how things work, I was like, oh, I'll be a star when I'm 18. And then you hit 18 and you're like, okay, no, 24. And then you turn 24 and you're like, 30. And now I'm well into my 30s. And I'm like, all right, well, I just got to focus on my craft and do what I love to do. And, if I don't, get to where my 8-year-old, 9-year-old, inner child wanted to go, then that's okay. But I'm working and I love it. And I get to work on fantastic projects and, with incredible people. So I feel quite lucky.
And definitely fantastic projects. I mean, Titans, I just think is an awesome show, and your character in that was absolutely amazing.
Was to be so badass.
Oh, it's just amazing. Do you know what? For me, having girls, I've got 2 young girls, so I think since being a dad, I gravitate towards these female characters now, these strong female characters, either if they're bad or good on screen, because I want my girls to grow up with great sort of examples on their screens that women can go out and actually have these amazing roles and get away from the stigma of old style Hollywood where it's always got to be the leading man. And I really love the fact that we're seeing some great female characters coming through. It's just fantastic. And then obviously
also female characters that can have a conversation that isn't about love and men. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I love so much about Trader is that, her goal has nothing to do with love or men or relationships. It's about money and success and being, on top. So that's quite refreshing.
I mean, obviously this industry's got lots of ups and downs. So how do you keep motivated? How do you keep that mental health in tip-top shape? Because it's got to be quite hard at times when you're going for roles and you get the rejections as much as the offers. So how do you keep motivated within your work?
Yeah, I think it's just reframing things. So it's like, instead of seeing it as rejection, I like to see it as like I'm planting seeds in my garden. and
Mm.
it'll take the time it takes for the seeds to grow and flourish into something. And sometimes there are bad seeds that don't amount to anything, and sometimes they're good. But I think it's all about patience and resiliency. And I'm quite stubborn, so when I decide I want something, I tend to not look back. But I have like an amazing support system, like friends, my partner, my agent, my parents, really, holding space for me and supporting me. And, and I think you just have to work on yourself and make sure that you have a great work-life balance, and mentally you're fit, and you work on your craft, and you don't settle for less. And I think I've had some good years, I've had some bad years, and I've had some years where I was like, okay, this isn't fulfilling. Like, what can I do? What can I change to, like, sort of, so that my work lines up with my personal values? And actually, Trader came to me at a time where I had decided for myself that I was sort of done doing sort of like romantic leads. And I was more interested in playing complex characters, like characters that aren't necessarily good, who are flawed and complicated and messed up with like crazy backstories. Because that's what I love about my work, is to try something new.
I mean, let's talk about Trader, because it's just an awesome film. And as I mentioned earlier, it's quite mesmerizing to watch and very thought provoking. So I definitely got a few questions. I mean, obviously, I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't seen it, because it's out today on video on demand, and then on the 22nd of August in Canada as well. I mean, obviously, there's a scene in the trailer with Wasabi, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But if you could tell us a bit about the film and whom you play.
So the film is called Trader. It is a single room, single actor psychological thriller about a manipulative sociopath. That's who I play. She doesn't have a name, by the way. And she she sets her eye on taking over the stock market, and she decides to go after a pharmaceutical company. And her ultimate goal is to succeed and to be the top dog. And so and she's willing to pretty much do anything to get there. So it's she's quite the anti-hero.
And how was this project presented to you? Because it's quite an unusual, like, sort of prospect that it's just you on screen, and obviously it's about day trading. I mean, when this was presented to you, I mean, what was your first impressions?
Oh, so Michael James Regan, the producer of Trader, I've known him for over 10 years, and we've always wanted to work together, but it just never lined up. He had a project he was trying to get going, and I did a table read for it. So he was always like a fan of mine, and I always wanted to work with him. So he sent me the script, and I could not put the script down. I read it in one go, and I was like it lit my soul on fire. I was like vibrating on another level. Listen, I don't know anything about day trading, okay? But what I knew is that this was a special project. It was a scary role to play. Nothing that I had done before. And I also knew that it was Corey Stanton's script, and I had seen his last film called The Robbery. I had seen it at a festival, and I really liked it. So he was on my radar. And so I knew, I was like, I just have to have this, because I was already in a sort of a rebranding phase where I had cut off my hair. I didn't know where I was fitting. I didn't fit in anymore. And so Trader came to me, and I was like, this is it. This is what I've made room for. And then, I had a meeting with Corey, and he was like, you're great and all that, and I'm sure you can do it. Michael speaks very highly of you. It's just like, I look at your work, and I'm not sure. And so I went home, and I really felt like I wanted to fight for this. And so I went through all of my old audition tapes and I crafted a 10 minutes of footage from tapes that I had booked or not booked, basically mapping out Trader's arc to hit all of those beats of like, you know, her rage and her sexuality and how she manipulates and different accents, and like, just I wanted to show Corey that I could do it because I knew I could do it. And so I sent him that, and then he was like, the rule's yours.
I mean,
So I felt,
again, the part is so impressive because looking at your roles on previous projects, and as you mentioned, you wanted to get away from like the, you know, the romantic leads, and this is far as you can go, to be fair, and it's just great. It's like an actor's guide watching this, because you know the character goes through so many emotions and you don't know what to expect next, and I think that's what makes her so mesmerizing, because it's like literally it's like watching like 19 different characters in one, and you trying to, you know, what is she going to do next? And obviously in the trailer you see her snort wasabi to keep focused. I mean, did you actually do that, or was that literally,
I
a trick?
snorted pea paste,
Excellent.
which I think is worse because I hate peas. So that was gross. That was really gross. But I was so in it. Like, I'm not a method actor. But I also don't have my own method. Like, every role is different. I'm always looking for a different way in. But for Trader, I was like, I have to get in there. I have to like really just mess it all up. Yeah, keep it super raw, do all the things, really, really sweat, really be filthy, really. I grew out my armpit hair. I didn't shower. I was gross.
That's method.
But that's method.
That's method.
I feel like that was my way in, because I had never played someone like her.
I mean, there is a lot of jargon at the beginning about trading, and I've got to say, anyone out there that hasn't got a clue about trading, don't worry, because literally I haven't got a clue, and I was trying to understand some of the terms, but then it dawned on me that you don't really need to know, because that is just a slight part of what this film is about. I mean, did you have to do any research on trading?
Well, luckily, Corey knows everything about day trading, and I think he's dabbled into it. I think he's done some day trading. I wouldn't be surprised. But he gave me a crash course, and so I was like, don't, worry about the emotional story, and Corey will take care of that. And he did a great job with visually to sort of, if you don't know anything about day trading, at least you understand that green is good, red is bad, and here she's winning, here she's losing. So at least visually, if you couldn't keep up with the jargon, at least visually you knew if it was, good or bad.
I mean, obviously, it's just you on screen, and we hear some amazing voices through the film as well. I mean, when you're filming on set, I mean, are these voices, recorded live with you, or is it pre-recorded?
So it was really important for us to have authentic relationships. So we set them up. So we had all the actors on set, and they were. So I would, I knew everyone, but we would like hang out, go over the lines, make sure everything was cool, and then they were upstairs. In a barber shop. They were set up in a barber shop, and we were in the basement, and so it was live, and we had a speaker. So they were being recorded upstairs, and then I could hear them, sometimes not very well, but I could hear them downstairs, so that they were real conversations, because phone conversations are that's like the hardest kind of acting. Because you're not talking to anyone. You're not in connection with anyone. So it was really important, because, that's how she connects with people, is over the phone. So, yeah, it was great. It was so good to have them there.
And I've got to say as well that this part, I'm sure there's loads of actors out there that would love to sink their teeth into the character. I mean, how did you develop the character? From the first moment, because as we spoke, how complex she is. I mean, was it a case of sitting down and obviously mapping out the character in the way of the character traits and
Yeah.
backstory and everything like that?
Yeah, I really, I'm visual, so I had to map it out for myself, like where she was emotionally at. And then I needed to justify her actions, because when you place someone like that who does some terrible, terrible things, you you can't go in judging. You have to find a way in. You have to justify those actions. So I did a lot of backstory, and some of it I ran by Corey, but it was kind of irrelevant because none of it comes up, because everything that comes out of her mouth is some kind of lie. But it was just, for me, the actor, I wanted I wanted there to be a life underneath. I didn't want it to just be like, jargon or just pure manipulation. There's got to be a reason why. So I actually worked with Ray Ellen Bodie, who is a dialect coach, and she does a lot of emotional prep work. I met her over 10 years ago when I was at the Canadian Film Center. I did the Actors Conservatory there, and she came in and basically taught us how to tap into our well of emotions. And so together we crafted this very, very complicated and dark backstory that justified Trader's actions. And then once all of that work was done, then on set it was just a matter of like throwing myself in, trusting that the work was there, and it just bubbled up, like
Mm.
the anger or the tears. It was just there.
So, would you like to take home a piece of film history or TV history into your own home? Find your own piece of magic with Prop Store, the world's leading auctioneers of film props, costumes, and more. So, check out propstore.com or follow the link in the description of this video. And while you're doing that, why don't you use our special code? Our special code will give you 10% off anything in the Buy Now section. And the code is easy to remember. It's Brian10. That's BRYAN 10. And it's just above the finger, just here. Use that at the checkout to get your 10% off. That's propstore.com. I mean, how exhausting was it? Because it's exhausting watching it, to be fair. I mean, it really is, but in a good way. So
Yeah.
how exhausting was it? And how did you leave the character on set when you walked away from your day or night of filming?
Well, it was, I mean, it's exhausting and it's not, because it was a 12-day shoot. And it was just me. So I was in it from first thing in the morning to when we wrapped at night. It was just me. So I think what's more exhausting is going in and out of character. So because I was just in it all day, like I felt tired at the end of the day, but I felt I'm more tired when I'm on set and I wait around for 6 hours.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I find hard, because you're just sort of like waiting, and then, oh, it's time to go. Shit, the adrenaline kicks
Mm.
in. So yeah, it was exhausting, but it was like it felt like running a marathon. And once it was done, it was done. I probably slept for a couple days. Uh, but yeah, I was incredibly proud of the work we had done.
And
But
were you nervous at all? Because obviously it's just you on screen, so everything falls on you as that
yeah,
performer to deliver this amazing movie. And I can't believe it was shot over 12 days. That's awesome, because there's
yeah, 12
movies
days in the
out
day.
and there's movies out there that literally have been shot over months and spent billions of pounds, and this is so much better. And I'm
Well,
not
I
just
mean,
saying that.
there's a lot can be said about having less money. That's when you get really, really, really creative.
Mhm.
And I think we were so focused and we're so in it that I didn't. I didn't have the I wasn't nervous about the product and people seeing it. I was nervous months later when we screened it. I was so nervous. Like, I did not handle my nerves very well. And I remember we had like a sort of film family friend industry screening, and I had so much wine just so that I could watch it, because I had seen it, but then you're like, how are people going to react? And also my friends and family, like, they've never seen me do anything like this. So I was really, really nervous, and I'm nervous today because it's finally out and people get to watch it. And I know how I feel about it, but it's always vulnerable when it's like, I've never been this raw on camera. Like, I don't, like, I've never been so, in a way, like, naked. So yeah, I'm nervous, but I'm also, it feels exhilarating, and I'm excited to see what other opportunities come my way, because I want to keep doing work like this, like characters that are complicated, and because I'm kind of overplaying, the perfect leading lady that you just get pigeonholed, and that's not the career I want for myself.
I mean, a lot of characters out there are like the polished sort of stereotypical part. So this part of Trader is very raw, very real, and honest as well, and it's just fascinating to watch. I mean, if you could pick a moment in the film that was your favourite to film, could you? Have you got one?
There's so many. Like, I love the sort of weird dance sequence where she's having this like drug
Awesome.
bad trip. That was like, I worked with one of my best friends who's she's an actress, but she has a dance background, so we worked together. We created this whole sequence, so that was cool. I had never done anything like that before. I also loved the scene where the sex phone sex. That's so funny. Phone sex scene with Bob the Broker. I thought I was just like giggling the whole time. I thought that was hilarious. What else? There's so many. Like, I mean, I love drama. So all the scenes that needed, like the scene where the exclusive clip that they released, where I like lose my shit and start punching the back. I mean, that was like, I mean, everything, the whole movie.
I mean, to be honest, it must be a difficult question to answer because there's so many things in there. And what I like about this film is that, it's very, there are parts in it that reminds me of theatre. Sort of how theatre productions are set up. And I just think everything, even the score, the soundtrack, I just think is phenomenal. It really, really is, because the soundtrack, of course, is there to manipulate your emotions and carry along. And the soundtrack on this film, this project, is just astonishing because it really does, touch you. Even like the subtleness of it, I just think is fantastic. It's magical. It really, really is.
And can I just like shout out to our writer, director, editor, co-producer, composer, sound designer, Corey Stanton. He did it all.
Wow.
On his own. Yeah.
Wow.
That music. He did everything. He even did like all of the day trading, like everything that you see on the computer. He did all of that.
Wow.
The guy's a genius.
Or a control freak.
No, he's not a control freak. He's like he just is such a like pure creativity that needs to be like unleashed, and he has such a vision. And when you don't have money, you have to do it yourself, because to try to communicate, can you imagine trying, like, had he only been the writer director, trying to communicate his vision to an editor, trying to communicate his vision to a composer or sound designer? Anyway, he's a jack of all trades. I love him to death. I'm just so excited to see what he does next, and I really hope he casts me.
Do you think? I mean, obviously not ruining it for everyone, but do you think we'll ever see Trader again? Because
Oh.
I would love to see Trader again. You know, on the next chapter, because I'm not saying what happens or anything, but I just think it would be awesome to watch.
Now, would you want to see more of Trader in a sequel or a TV show? Like, how do you want? In what capacity?
Thing is, though, she's so unpredictable. You don't know what our actual. So throughout this movie, you know, when they talk about twists, it's sort of like you don't know which direction it's going in. So I think that's what makes it exciting, and the fact of, well, I can't really go into it because we're going to talk about the film.
I know.
You know, I just would love to see either on a TV show or another film a sequel. It would be awesome. It really, really would.
I mean, I'm down. I'm down. If Corey's down, he would have to lead the way for sure. You know, a character that inspired me when I was prepping for Trader was Killer Eve. Jodie, what's the actress's name? I'm so bad with names.
Cochran.
Comer. Comer.
Yes, Comer. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I am such a big fan of hers, and I think her character, she's so wild. She's unpredictable, and you never know, and it's like you love her, you hate her, you want like. And so I remember, like, when I was prepping for Trader, I was like, I want Trader to be like that. Like,
and
you can't get enough because there's nothing she doesn't do. She's so ballsy. She's so wild. She doesn't care. There's something that's very.
But the question, the question is, would you go out on a night out drinking with her? The Trader.
No, I couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
Would you go out drinking with her?
Hell no. Nope.
No.
I'll be too scared, to be fair. I get intimidated quite easily.
This is how I see Trader. She is an animal caught in a trap. And she is willing to gnaw her own leg off. And so if you stand in her way, she's going to take you out. So no, I would not go drinking.
I can't see her having many friends because, again, you know, her version of success is just her against the world, and it gives me the impression that she would screw over anyone that gets in her way. Which is
her
quite...
moral compass has been broken.
But again,
we do know that.
But again, it would be great to see in the sequel, maybe to explore a bit of the backstory that made her the way that she is, because she's obviously very, very good at what she does. And I did actually look up day trading. I thought, shall I give it a go? And I thought, no.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, the thing is, I don't bet, I don't gamble. Actually, tell a lie once a year on the Super Bowl, and that is it. But that's it. So I'll leave it to the experts. But Kimberly, anything else coming your way that you can mention? I think, is it Die Alone that you've been filming?
I'm so excited. Yeah. We wrapped last month. It's a feature film that we shot in Regina, and just outside Regina, Saskatchewan, with starring Carrie-Anne Moss, Frank Grillo, Douglas Smith, and myself. It's a post-apocalyptic, post-pandemic sort of zombie love story. I say zombie in quotations because we have our own take on zombies, and it's a beautiful film by Lowell Dean. He did the Wolf Cop movies.
Okay.
And he's just fantastic, and we had such a great time, and the dailies look beautiful, and I am so excited for that to come out next year.
Cannot wait. But Kimberly-Sue, you've been great having on the show. Such a great film, out now on video on demand. Go and get it rent it, watch it, even if you don't like trading. Believe me, it's a hell of a lot more than just trading. It's just a great character, great film. Thank you
It's
so
a
much for
wild
being.
ride. Someone described it as an assault on your brain, and I was like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. To be honest, though, afterwards, I felt like going back and watching it again. To be honest,
Mm,
because there's a lot in there, and I always find that these low budget films have more heart than these big budget ones, because a lot
yeah.
more care, a lot more effort has been put into the story, and then built upon that. And this film definitely has got loads of things going on in the background, and snippets which I may have missed. So I am going to go back and watch it again, I promise. But
I love.
thank you so much for coming onto the show.
Thank you so much, Ryan, for having me. I really appreciate it.